morning. On my way to Las Vegas today with a load. Coming out of Wichita, Kansas. My name's Cadillac. That's what everybody calls me. Not my real name, but that's what everybody calls me. And, I'm working on a book. If you've seen any of my other videos, I'm still working on the book. I'm trying to perfect it before I get it, put out. Spent a lot of time locked up as a kid, Texas juvenile system, TYC. Ended up going in and out of the penitentiary and out of a bunch of work release facilities, correctional institutions. And today, at 46, I've been blessed that I've been actually free longer than I've been incarcerated. There was a time that I had been incarcerated longer than I had actually been free, and that means that was counting my whole life. That was counting all of my from day one, from 1 day old, to whatever time it was. I think I was in my 20s or whatever. I had spent more time incarcerated in facilities than I had ever been free. I had a real bad institutionalized attitude about shit and the way I think things should be. And it continued to cost me. It continued to, even when I had became free and I was on parole, or I was, released from work release and I'm, or in a work release type facility, I somehow managed to put myself back behind the fence or back behind the wall because of my attitude and what I thought, things should be like. I was always living in some fucking rat hole, some ran down apartments in neighborhoods like Oaklawn and the north side of Wichita, Kansas, and living in motels up and down South Broadway, Sunset Motel, different motels. I dragged my ex-wife through a lot of my problems. I found out later on, after I had done work this, and I'll say by the grace of God, managed to get myself free from the institution, I found out that I was diagnosed with bipolar, and I have intermittent explosive disorder. And I found this towards the actual end of my parole sentence. And I was trying all these different medicines, and I was trying to get it under control so I don't find myself back where I was. And the medicines would make me sick. I noticed that when things went my way in life successfully, I didn't need medicine so much. When I got a job, my symptoms of my anger and my attitude problems or whatever, they kind of fucking subsided a little bit. And, I made some smart moves that helped propel me where I'm at today compared to where I was, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Nobody wanted to give me a chance. Nobody wanted to take a gamble on me. Looking back, I don't even know that I would have done it if I would have took a gamble on me. If that would have been me on the other side of that desk. My attitude was really fucked up. I went through some really bad abusive relationships. I won't say relationship. I went through an abusive situation with my dad. He was a Vietnam prisoner. He tortured me and my brother so bad that he ended up going to prison in Mississippi behind the whole ordeal of the things he were doing to me, my brother, and my sister even. And at the end of the day, it was some really, really, really fucked up shit. It'll be in my book. Tossed me in the juvenile facility, and that just didn't help anything any better. By the time I got to the penitentiary, I didn't have figured out what I thought life was supposed to be about. The reality of the whole situation is that nobody's gonna come, and live your life for you and do the right moves for you. They're not gonna come put your shoes on and your pants on and fucking live your life until they can get it back on track and hand it back to you. That's not going to happen. You know, people cannot, even your loved ones can only take so much out of their life to help get you right. It's going to take really you by yourself doing what you got to do. You know, I had seen lots of guys that were fucking, plaid shirt, plaid shorts, polo shirt, sandals on, real clean cut white boys that just looked like they had everything. Go out there and get in the Range Rover and live over there, the good side of town where the nice houses were. And I was like, why that didn't happen to me? What's the deal? The difference between him and me, though, here's the difference. You take away the connections he has with people and who he doesn't know, or who he does know, who he knows, and all that other shit, okay? And he hasn't been where I've been. A lot of guys, they get broke, they go bankrupt, they what do? They commit suicide. They start taking drugs, alcohol, which to me, I'm not gonna lie, is a weak way out of handling your business. I one time heard somebody say, you need to subside with your pain. You need to make friends with it. You need to turn around and stop running from it and face it and make it leave you alone. That's what you need to do. But to continue to run from it doesn't do nothing, but it makes you unproductive. You cannot be productive if you're too busy running from issues. You can't stop long enough or slow down long enough to focus on other issues that matter, that are going to get you out of where you are. If you're continually running from it, it's kind of like making a high interest payment on a loan, and all you're doing every month is taking interest. It's never going to go away if you don't start paying on the principal. Where I'm going with this as well is, if you that guy, he can't live a day in my shoes without being on alcohol, drugs, or whatever it is. But what he can do is, I can live in his shoes. You flip it around, I can do him. It's not going to be a consequence to me. I used to tell my ex-wife all the time, she said, you always are prepared for the negative, and you shouldn't even think about the negative. Now, I have a different thought on that process. I believe you should be always ready for the negative. Always prepare for the negative. And do everything pay it forward as far as doing everything for positive results. Do everything for positive, but you need to set aside and be prepared for when things don't go wrong. Because when things don't go wrong and everything's good, there's no consequence. You don't have to prepare for that. You don't have to. What you do have to prepare for, if things go wrong, well, you're fucked if you wasn't prepared. If you didn't make a plan for this, I'm going to set aside this money and these plans for if something goes wrong. Now I'm going to go back and get on to what is propelling me forward. I'm going to take my risk. I became an owner-operator with my own truck. I drive semis, big trucks. I haul freight mainly off the West Coast to central United States. Wichita, Denver, I used to go coast to coast, but I stick on the west side and south mainly now. What I'm getting at here is that people had told me, hey man, I bought my truck through a company with a lease purchase option. And for those of you who don't understand, a lease purchase option, you lease the truck, you make your payments. At the end of the day, at the end of the payments, the truck is yours. Now, there's some fucked up leases out there. They have you paying balloon payments and all kinds of other weird shit. This company that I got this truck from is not like that. So, people said, well, I don't know if you should do that. Everybody had a lot of people had negative things to say about it. I had a couple friends of mine that did not. You know, they were like, man, you should do that. Whether they were saying it because it was the right thing to say and they thought that was a positive thing to say, or whether they said it because they believed it and it was heartfelt, it doesn't matter, because they don't live your life, you do, and it doesn't. You can't base what your results are on what somebody else feels or why they said what they said. Personally, I love it when people are negative. It gives me my energy. It's like my fuel. It's like my oatmeal for the day, you know. So it helps me want to make sure that I make that happen because they said it couldn't be done, or I was crazy or stupid or whatever, you know. So where I'm going with this is that I had tax issues, and I had this issue, and I had that issue, and I'm like, you know what? I'm still gonna have these issues. I'm still working these issues out. You know, I should not let it stop me from getting up and doing what I think I need to do, which is buying my own truck. At the end of the day, if I make an extra $50 more because I own that truck, and that's after I make all my payments and everything, than I did when I was just some company driver, then I'm going to do it. Because eventually, guess what? The payments are going to stop, the truck's going to be paid off, and that truck now belongs to you. And it starts with you putting one foot in front of the other. So if I would have never started with the payments, you know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I wouldn't own the truck today. That's life. You got to get up and start moving in that direction and stop worrying about what the fuck everybody else is doing. Okay? I done lived in the hood. I done lived in the ghetto. I done lived in some fucked up ass places. Okay? I'm going to tell you. I done lived in some places that you know, weren't very inviting to me. And I had to move in and move around and get my, you know, perimeter set up and settle in. When that was a problem for me a while, I settled into that. And finally I said, I can't, you know, I got to keep moving. So there's the old crab in the bucket theory. Yes, you're going to keep getting grabbed and somebody's going to try to pull you back. But that's if you're close to everybody. If, you know, you need to distance yourself from some of these people and focus on you and not what they're doing and not what they're about. You need to focus on what you're trying to do. But so many of us are focused on other people and what they're doing that we're not cleaning up our own yard. We're not doing what the fuck we're supposed to be doing. Let me tell you something. I got tired of penitentiary politics. I got tired of that because in there, let me tell you something. There's no you. You know, it's not peace and quiet. It's more bullshit going on there you have to deal with every day. There ain't no turning the cheek and walking away and none of that shit. You're going to be forced to deal with it, or you'll find yourself, you know, in PC or the SHU for an undetermined amount of time, and that's not good either. And let me tell you something, it's not quiet and peaceful in there. It's a bunch of motherfuckers pounding on the motherfucking door, screaming and kicking and carrying on all motherfucking day long. So why do I bring the penitentiary into this? Because some of you are headed that way trying to find the easy way out, instead of just sitting down and saying, hey man, this is what I need to do. You know, I'm going to do more videos that are you know, that are directed towards one fucking topic at a time. And right now, you know, this is a Sunday. I just decided to put something on here. But if you have time to sit around and watch TV, you got time to read a book. And I know everybody's like, oh, everybody says it. I have 80 some books that I paid for that are in my Audible account. And if you don't feel like reading, plug the shit up to your stereo. Go to Audible, get the app. Go to the self-help. Look at books that you see that are going to help you. I have books to finish brushing up on my Spanish. I got books on fucking sales books. Even if you don't want to be a salesman, you're selling something every day yourself. That's what you're doing every day. You sell yourself. Do that. You know, brush up on a book that has something to do with sales. It teaches you how to connect with people in the right way and how to talk to them and sell whatever it is you're selling. Yourself, furniture, or you want to be a real salesman, whatever. That's what you should be doing. Doing something not beside feeding your stomach and watching Love and Hip Hop. You know, which ain't gonna have shit to do with you. Which anything makes you more confrontational. I noticed that I listen to a lot of my favorite artists at Zero. And I noticed that when I listen to the Zero all day long, it makes me think back about my problems and all the shit I got going on, because I'm relating to what he's saying and the way he's saying to deal with it, you know. And then I got some motherfucker cuts me off in the road and gives me the finger, and I'll run into him at this fucking truck stop up the road. That never works out so well. You know, I'm trying to read something positive and somebody does that, yeah, it still makes me a little mad. It's not going to stop me from listening to Zero, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm aware of that now. I'm aware of, hey man, you might be acting a little foolish right now because you just got through listening to No Love Boulevard album, and this motherfucker just didn't show you no love. And now you fix to get in his ass or go off in his mouth like, you know, a motherfucking dentist. What I'm saying is that every day you need to take 1 or 2 steps forward to where you want to be in life. Whatever it is. It can be small steps. You know, putting in an application at a certain place every fucking week because that's where you want to work. Doing what you got to do to get your CDL. Maybe you want to be out here cross country working. You ain't got no, you know, whatever. My point being is that it always needs to be something positive for that day. At the end of the week, you should have done 7 to 14 things positive. Now, at the end of the month, what does that add up to? At the end of the year, what does that add up to? You sitting over there at the house on food stamps or EF, whatever that card is now they give you. Sitting there on Section 8, housing, okay? And you sitting there complaining, you know, or content with it. Any day now, you got fucking crazy shit going on in the government. That shit can be cut. Where does that leave you and your kids? That's something to think about. Get your ass up, stay on your Section 8, stay on your food stamps, but you need to be on the side trying to do something to prepare yourself for the worst, like I was saying earlier. Get up, do something. I was selling gold teeth, gold grills to put in people's mouth, you know, and long life dream of mine to be able to do that. I mean, I was a big fan of gold teeth. Got 2 of my own in my mouth. You know, grew up around people that had them in their mouth in the 80s. And I'll tell you this, who would have known I'd end up selling them? If you Google me, Earl Cadillac Hunter on Google, you see there's some stories about me selling those gold teeth, even out in L.A. The story was out in L.A. I wasn't selling them out there. My point being is that, you know, I get up every day and I do something to move up the ladder. And I started learning how to do the teeth. Next thing you know, I was selling them. I got through with that. I saw that was going downhill. So what did I do? I went and got me a CDL to be a truck driver because a friend of mine turned me on to it. It's good money. It's easy money. And I'm still looking for the next fucking step. I'm not staying here. You know, I'm staying here long enough till I can figure out how to get where I want to do. Which I want to own 3 or 4 trucks, 5 trucks is my goal at the end. And then I can sit back. But now I get up every morning and I get this seat and I drive 14 hours a day. I work 14 hours a day. Okay? And that 14 hours I drive 11 of them. The other few hours are for fueling and stuff. I do this every day. I'm home 6 days a month. That's it. You know, I got a wife and child at home, my stepdaughter, and I take care of them. You know, this is what I come out here and put it on the line for every day. And I'm working on other ways to make things even better. My point being is, what are you going to do? You going to sit there and bitch and complain today too? Or Monday's coming up, you're going to try to do something to make a change? Because people get tired of hearing you bitching and complaining. They just don't say that because they're your friends or they're your relatives. But when you ain't around, somebody's saying something about that shit. Me, I stay to myself pretty much, so a lot of people don't hear from me. Focus on yourself. Get up and start something. You say, well, I'm going to start doing this and I'm going to start doing that. When? You need to get off this video and go out that door right now and do whatever it is that you can do. The place ain't open, you need to go there tomorrow and get started. Because if the first step is not taken, the very first step ain't taken, it ain't never going to be. So, I'm going to try to upload more videos from time to time and, focus on one topic at a time.